Hey, everybody, welcome to our online summit, The Grateful Entrepreneur. This is an online summit all about growing your business with gratitude. We're going to be talking about gratitude, appreciation, giving, and customer experience in this summit. So welcome. Honoree Cordier is our first guest, and so welcome to Honoree. She's the author of dozens of books, including You Must Write a Book, which I am actually doing myself right now, the Prosperous Writer book series, Like a Boss book series, Vision to Reality, Business Dating, the Successful Single Mom book series, If Divorce is a Game, These Are the Rules, and The Divorced Phoenix. She is also Hal Elrod's business partner in the Miracle Morning book series. Now, Honoree also coaches business professionals, writers, and aspiring nonfiction authors who want to publish their books to bestseller status, create a platform, and develop multiple streams of income. You can find out more about Honoree Corder's website and offerings on her website, HONOREECORDER.com. That's HonoreeCorder.com. Honoree, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. That intro seems very long now.
Well, you keep writing books. It's going to keep getting longer. And
yes, I think so.
Let me tell the audience a little bit about how we got right here. So I'm a big fan of Hal Elrod and the Miracle Morning community. I know you have been in there for a number of years, as have I, and you've helped Hal write his book series. And then just more recently, I have a mastermind partner, Steve Scott, who I know you know, and I was looking for people that would be good for this interview series, the Grateful Entrepreneur. He immediately thought of you, and so I reached out to you, and being the giving person that you are, you instantly agreed. So thank you so much, Honoree. It was really nice of you to be here.
Absolutely. My pleasure. I'm a huge fan of Steve Scott.
Yeah, he's awesome.
And Hal Elrod.
Right. So, you've written a long list of books, but we're going to focus on one of your books specifically, and that topic of business dating. And, your book, Business Dating, talks a lot about giving first, gratitude, and really writing thank you and follow-up notes as a way to cultivate relationships. But I want to read the beginning of your book because I listened to the interview Hal did with you, and he read it, and I was like, I just got your book yesterday on Kindle, and I went through it last night and this morning. And yes, that first sentence grabs your attention, and you say, "Dear reader, you wouldn't start a conversation with a new love interest like this. Hello? Nice to meet you. Please take off your pants." In essence, though, that's what a lot of people do in business. So I want to ask you, Honoree, that's a great beginning. How is business dating like personal dating? And what made you decide to write a book called Business Dating?
Oh, great questions. Thank you. So business dating is like personal dating in that it takes a number of exposures to someone before you like them, trust them, and will give them your time and attention or money. And so I wrote the book Business Dating because I had a lot of conversations where someone would reach out to me for the very first time and basically say, "Please take off your pants." And hey, I'm a happily married woman, and under the right conditions, I take off my pants. However, in business, the first time or several times you meet someone, until you do develop some trust for that person, it's too soon to make the ask, unless you're in a very rare situation where when you meet someone for the first time, you're like, "Oh my gosh, you are my person, right? You are my people. We totally resonate. We found some commonalities and some common factors, and I already feel like I've known you for a million years." For the most part, in business, people have their guard up, and they are looking for commonalities, and they're looking for someone who is going to show up for them on an ongoing basis, whether it's as a customer, as a service provider, or as a referral partner. And I believe you have to expect to play the long game with someone, not the, "Hi, what are you doing later? Let's go upstairs" kind of thing.
Yeah, and I love that. And something that you talk a lot about in the book is similar to some things I've been talking about, is having a business based on relationships and not a
Yep.
transactional business where you're
Yep.
just exchanging money for a product or service and then you don't really talk to that person again. You talk about creating those relationships and really connecting with your clients as human beings, which is lost on a lot of businesses, I think.
What?
Dave. So what are some ways that we can run our business more on relationships versus on just the dollar, the transaction?
Well, be openly available to other people, and in a be open and receptive. Be willing to share of yourself. Be willing to be less than perfect, and then playing the long game. To me, is recognizing that people are also people, and they have everything that they're interested in, and people that they're interested in, and things that they're interested in, and figuring out what and who those things are. Learning about the other person and acknowledging the fact that they are a person and connecting with them on a personal level. And so I know you're going to ask about notes. You can't know when to send a note to someone unless you know about them. So the thank you note is kind of a 3-minute thing. Thank you for meeting with me. Thank you for interviewing me on your podcast. Thank you for reading my book. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then you're done. But if I had a minute to learn about you and like, hey, are you married? Are you involved with someone? Do you have children? What's your business about? What are you looking for? When's your birthday? Right? And those types of things. Then I have more information. I can even go another level deeper, which is what business are you in and what problems do you have? What are you looking for next most in your business? Who would you like to meet if you could meet anyone? Or who do you need on your team that you don't already have? And then I'm keep noodling on that and figuring out ways to acknowledge you on your birthday, make the introduction to that financial advisor or CPA or reader for your book or other people to interview for your summit, those sorts of things. The more information you have as a person about the other person, the more personal your relationship comes. And ultimately, whether you are looking to do something that is complex and you need someone's good advice, or you're looking to hide a body, you're always going to call the person well to do those things and to help you. And when it's just an out of the blue situation, I find that it doesn't happen in a way that people imagine. In other words, if you have a lot of money to invest, you're going to go to the person who either has had a lot of money to invest, or to the person who's built a relationship with you that cares about you when you don't have any money to invest, so that when the time is right, you choose to work with them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's awesome. And before we go on to the next question, Honoree, you'll probably get a thank you card from me. Just so you know.
You'll probably get a thank you card from me.
But also, I was interested because you mentioned birthdays, and I was reading a story this morning for doing some research for the book that I'm writing about a gentleman who is the CEO of a huge disaster relief company, and they have like 8,000 employees, and he writes a birthday card for each one of his employees. That's 8,000 of them every single year, and they have $1 billion business. Pretty cool. This year in January, it was his birthday, and all 8,000 employees gave him a birthday card. So he has 8,000 birthday cards to go through. But it really just kind of shows you the power of that connection and treating people like human beings. And I think even when we're talking about, coworkers and feeling appreciated with the work that you're doing for a company, a lot of times that's why I got out of the corporate world and into my own business. I didn't feel appreciated for the work that I was doing. So it's really huge to really express gratitude, appreciation, whatever form, feels right to you. We talked about, giving first. What are some ways that we can give first? I remember you shared your story in your book about how Elrod you two connected.
Yeah.
Just asked you a simple question. What did he ask you? And is that a good way to kind of start things off in a relationship business wise?
Sure. What did he ask me? What was the question?
He basically asked you, Honoree, how can I add value to you?
Oh, yes. That's a general how question. He asks that to me even now that we've been working together for several years. Well, the way that we met, I'll tell the backstory. The backstory is that I, as an author, when you have your book, you will want honest 5-star reviews. Right?
Yes.
Not just honest reviews, but honest 5-star reviews. And I have a personal philosophy. One of the tenets of that philosophy is you must give away what you want more of in life. Give away what you want to keep. And I realized one day that I wanted more 5-star reviews, and I read a tremendous number of books, 3 to 5 books a week, depending on the week. And I wasn't taking the time to go and leave reviews for those books. The next book I read was The Miracle Morning, and I made a point to leave glowing, positive 5-star reviews, of course, for Hal's book on Goodreads and on Amazon. And he will say that on his side, he never looked at the reviews on Goodreads, but it was emailed to him and he looked at it and wanted the series and saw that I had the Successful Single Mom book series, reached out to me originally to do The Miracle Morning for single moms. But once we had a conversation, he realized that I knew more about publishing and writing books and creating a series than he did. And that's how we started our relationship. And we ultimately got married on our first date. That's what, it's a very rare thing, but we talked long enough and had enough time of just going back and forth. And that was one of the questions that he asked me was, how could he add value to me? One of the ways that I give first is I always ask the question, what do you need next most in your life or in your business? Everyone has something that's rolling around in their mind, and it is either personal, such as I just bought a new car for my daughter and she wants one of those fuzzy things that go on the steering wheel, like a hand warmer for the steering wheel. So I'm like, I don't know where to get one of those. I guess Amazon, right? First stop for everything. That's the thing that I'm going to do this afternoon is go find her a fuzzy hand warmer for her steering wheel. That's what I need next most in my life. But if you want to sell your house and you think, okay, now's the time. Oh, my wife is pregnant. We're going to need a bigger place to live. We got to buy a house. What is the thing you need next most? You need a good real estate agent, or you need a good mortgage broker who can qualify you for a loan, or you're finding the number of a great financial advisor who can help you figure out how much home you can afford, right? Everyone has something that they're noodling around with. So that's a great question to ask. What do you need next most in your life right now? And people will tell you, this is the biggest problem. It's right here in the front of my mind that's keeping me up at night, or that's causing me to be lost in thought during a conversation or as I'm having lunch or dinner. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And by the way, Hal's easy to get married to on the first date. He's very charming gentleman.
He is, yes, for
Yeah.
sure.
Awesome. So, Honoree, in your book, you talk a lot about the trust bridge. Can you kind of expand a little bit on that?
Absolutely. So I believe when you meet someone for the first time, you don't know them, you don't like them, you don't trust them, which also means you're not going to get their money, right? In business, ultimately, you want to either partner with someone to make more money, or you want someone to buy something or some product or service from you so that you can make money. And if I'm on this side of the trust bridge and I don't know you, I don't like you, and I don't trust you, you're not going to get my money. The idea is we got to get you to the other side of the bridge where I know you, I like you, I trust you, and I'm going to give you access to everything. I will not only engage you as my service provider or the person from whom I will buy products, I will also open up my Rolodex, to use an antiquated term, or the what do you call it, the directory in my phone, and I'll make introductions to other people just like me who can buy products and services from you. I will become a super fan. So it's getting across the trust bridge. That's the tricky part, and which requires this personal setting of, I'm going to play the long game. I'm not going to try to get married on the first date unless it feels right to all concerned, but I'm just going to keep touching someone over and over again with phone calls, with visits, with notes, with emails, with gifts of gratitude, with acknowledgement, until I get to the other side. And I recognize that I am on the other side of that bridge, and the person does now know, like, and trust me. And now I can even make the relationship deeper and bigger if I so choose.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up on something on your last answer when you said you wrote, like Hal, a review on the Miracle Morning. I actually was talking to somebody else, did the exact same thing. She was just launching her business. She didn't have very many connections, so she just started leaving reviews for people's books and their podcasts, and even like Yelp reviews for like doctors' offices that she had been to, of course, dentists and things like that. And it really just she just found out, like you've mentioned, that the more you give, kind of the more comes back to you. So just a really easy way to get started, just begin to give more, is leaving reviews. And I was on a particular page in your book here, and you said, write a testimonial about, a person or their product or service, submit it to them without being asked. We all want testimonials for our website, and usually as business owners, we need to kind of hunt down our clients and customers and ask them, do it, be proactive and do it yourself. There's another great tip, and that's part of giving. That's part of gratitude when it comes to growing your business.
Yes, and I believe when you give something away, that it comes back to you. It doesn't always come back where you put it, right? So you won't always get a reciprocal review, but you will find that as you make it a point to give first and to be generous, that things will happen to you. Just as the CEO you were mentioning, like, what a great problem to have. I have to go through 8,000 birthday cards. What a great way to spend 2 or 3 days, because I can't imagine that doesn't take quite a bit of time to go through and acknowledge, especially if the employees are grateful and they write a note, right? You have to take that in and sit with that. And as whatever you put out comes back to you multiplied, whether it's gratitude and happiness and those sorts of things, or it's not.
Yeah, he actually says when he's on a long flight, he'll take dozens of cards and start writing them there when he has some extra time.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Honoree, what are some, we've talked about, developing meaningful business relationships. What are some do's or don'ts when it comes to cultivating these relationships? I imagine they're similar to what you should and shouldn't do in dating. So kind of enlighten us. And I love how you tie things in with the dating world, because it makes things, we've probably all screwed up somewhere in our lives.
Oh, sure.
And it's really easy to understand. So I love that analogy. But when we're creating business and meaningful relationships, what are some do's and don'ts here? I know we've given a lot of do's.
Sure. So we've talked about asking too soon. Asking too soon is a don't. But definitely ask. Don't assume that the person is not saying yes because they don't want to. So a good do is to follow up until, and I give the 4 untils, right? Which is until they die, go out of business, send you a cease and desist letter, or until they engage you. A lot of times the yes comes on the other side of the 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th ask. And yet, if you look at any sales statistics, most salespeople, and if you're in business, even if you are an estate planning attorney, congratulations, you are in sales, you're building a business of any kind, you're selling something. Most salespeople do not follow up beyond the first contact. So they go on the first date, and if they're not married, they just move on, when in fact, there was a reason that you were meeting with that person in the first place. So don't necessarily make the ask on the first date, but don't fail to follow up, and then creating the environment of openness that someone could come back to you and be available. Another do is to look for ways to add value that have absolutely nothing to do with what you're buying or selling. Part of developing a relationship is, for example, yesterday someone very close to me was sick and not feeling well, and I just happened to have 2 hours to go through a drive-through and drive and drop off a meal, right? Just developing that relationship. And the words that were spoken to me were, "My cup is full. You have no idea how much this means to me." And I legitimately spent an hour in rush hour traffic both ways and went through a drive-through. That's all I did, right? I had a fun ride, I had fun music, listened to a podcast, but I put something in that relationship with no expectation of return, because I heard a need. Always listen to what the person is saying and make a note of it. Make note of the important things. So the important things are, we talked about birthdays, their holidays, their anniversaries. I have a client who lost her sister on the 2nd of the year. And every year on the 2nd of the year, I have a card waiting for her in her mailbox. She was very close to her sister. And then I call and just say, "I'm thinking about you today. I hope you're well." And acknowledging that anniversary. There are lots of anniversaries. So there are birth anniversaries, death anniversaries, marital anniversaries, all the anniversaries. I just had another client who celebrated 8 years of his law firm, and I started working with him 3 months before they started their law firm. So I got the notice, hey, it's our 8th anniversary. And I got on the phone and I was like, how are we 8 years older? This is amazing. But it's just an acknowledgement. And I will a lot of times say what I said in that message, which is, I'm just calling, I'm thinking about you. Mm-hmm. You don't have to have a reason for calling. I'm teaching a class right now, a coaching class to a direct sales company. And the women were like, but I can't call someone unless I'm going to ask them to buy something or to join my business, because why else would I be calling? And I said, you're calling because you, pardon my French, give a shit. If you haven't talked to someone for 6 months or 6 years and you're thinking of them and they popped into your mind, you might have an agenda, but you have a long play agenda. You want to make sure that they are a good fit for what you're selling, for what you're offering. You don't know that yet. How could you know? It's been 6 months or 6 years since you've talked to them. You have no idea what's going on with them. And isn't it lovely when someone calls you to say, I was just thinking about you. I just wanted to reconnect and say hello. How are you? How the heck are you? Not, oh, good. You're good? Okay, great. Well, I have something to sell you. Do you have your American Express card out? By the way, is it memorized? Because I could just put it on file and then just charge you every month for the rest of your life. Those are totally different, right? And so whenever I get those calls, I'm really excited about it. And whenever I get someone, I caught a call from someone I haven't heard from for 10 years. And he's like, it's been forever. How are you? And it wasn't 3 minutes into the conversation. He's like, well, the reason I wanted to talk to you is because I've started this new thing. And I was like, oh, he doesn't know I have a book about that. Well, I'm going to have to send him the book.
Yeah.
But that's why I wrote it, because it could have been, we had a reconnection call, then we had another reconnection call, and then he could say, look, I want to run something by you. I hope it's okay. And by then I'm already warmed up. It doesn't take much to butter people up, right? It doesn't take much to gain their trust and to get on their good side and to cause their defenses to come down, but it does take something. And if you jump too soon, you've ruined it forever. But if you wait until the time is right, you could be stepping into an opportunity that's going to be amazing forever, right? And it's just having the willingness to wait until it takes, right? You've got the trust bridge and the do's and the don'ts. It's like, it might take you a few years to get across the trust bridge, or it might take 45 minutes over coffee, and you don't know. Set the expectation that you're going on a long journey. So pack a bag, bring snacks, bring a bottle of water.
You're in it.
Bring comfortable shoes, right?
Not a quick fix.
Charge your phone. You could be there for a while. And then if it happens fast, then congratulations. And if it doesn't, you were prepared to put in the time that it takes.
Yeah, I love that. And I remember even in your book, business dating, you talked about when you wrote Vision to Reality, just giving away copies of your book to people that could benefit from it and see it as a value is just a really good way to express some gratitude as well. I want to wrap up with this, Honoree. We talked a little bit about thank you cards. Why do you think thank you cards are so powerful when it comes to helping grow a business?
I have 26,000 reasons, but I'll give you just a few. Okay. One, most of the mail we get is pre-printed and requires a payment by a certain date, or there's a late fee. Most of what we get in the mail is impersonal, or it's personal to our checking account number. And people like things with their name on them. People like personal recognition. And handwritten notes are a throwback. They are a forgotten art. Most people think, oh, I'll just send an email or whatever. And so a thank you card actually gets someone's attention. You have someone's one-on-one attention, and you have an opportunity to connect with them on a different level because you've taken the time. And this is what it is. It's your time that you've taken to sit down and acknowledge that they've done something or that you're thinking of them. So my philosophy on the thank you note is it's 3 minutes. It's the rule of 3. It takes 3 minutes. You write 3 lines and you send it within 3 days of whatever the thing is. And if it's 4 days or 42 days and you haven't sent it, go ahead and send it, because it's better late than never. But it doesn't take much. And I advise that people have pre-printed thank you notes that have their name on them and those sorts of things. And then also, if you are on a budget, you can go to the bridal selection at any office supply store, because they sell in bulk, or like Michael's or something like that. You can get 11 billion thank you notes for $50, right? They're little tiny and they say thank you on them. So they don't have to be fancy, but they do have to be handwritten by you, and they set you apart from the other people. That you will get jobs, you will get introductions, you will get all sorts of things because you take the time to send that note. It's one of the first things I teach in any of my classes is send a handwritten thank you note. They mean a lot and they make a difference.
Yeah, I love that. And, if we can just imagine how we feel when we go to our mailboxes and find a what's obviously a handwritten note in a sea of ads and bills, it makes us happy, it makes our day. So you can imagine your clients, customers, colleagues, how they're going to feel when they receive your handwritten thank you note. Honoree, this is
and
awesome.
It's the first thing they'll open. That's the last thing. It's the very first thing they're going to open. They're not going to open the Chase credit card bill before they open your thank you note, because they want to know what's personal, what came just for me. Who cares about just me right now?
And some people save the cards for years, or they'll put it in a drawer or post it on the refrigerator. And so it really stands apart from any other mail that you're getting. All right, what are you currently working on, and where can we follow you and find out more information about what you're doing, your books, things like that?
Awesome. What am I working on? I am working on graduating my daughter from high school. So anyone, no, I'm working on my next book, which will come out in the fall. The title, and again, forgive the swearing, but I thought a lot about this. Stop Trying So Fucking Hard is the title of the book. And we're working on 2 Miracle Morning books. I don't think it's too soon to talk about those. Miracle Morning Millionaires, What the Wealthy Do Before 8 a.m. That Will Make You Rich. And then the Miracle Morning for Addiction Recovery, which is a heart project for sure.
Wow. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Worthwhile stuff for sure.
Yes. Yes.
And the best way to follow you, is it just your website or?
Yeah, so you can find me. I'm at Honoree on every social media platform, and then I'm honoreecorder.com, as you so delightfully spelled out at the beginning. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, Honoree, thank you. It was an honor to have you here. You're my first guest in this.
Congratulations.
In this summit, The Grateful Entrepreneur. I really appreciate you. I hope to just get the message of putting the human touch back in businesses is basically what we're going for here. So thank you for your time. As always, I appreciate it. And I will help you in any way that I can, for sure.
Me as well. Somebody said it's not business, it's not personal, it's business. And I say there's nothing more personal than business if you do it right.
I love that. I've heard that as well. Thank you, Honoree.
Thank you.